Hi, so this is a sleep workshop for parents and carers of children in secondary school. It's been delivered by myself, Tracy Duke, my colleague,
And I'm Frances.
And we work for the mental health support team. So our team, we work with young people, families and schools to improve the emotional health and well-being of children in Nottinghamshire.
So the aims of today, we're going to explore how much sleep your child needs. I'm going to help you to understand the sleep cycle and help to identify what you can do to help your child sleep.
Thank you, Frances. So how much sleep do we need? So this is a really good example from the Sleep Council of how many hours your child does need. If you might have younger children in your family, so this is really helpful for you as well. But we're talking about kind of secondary school, so that's 12 to 18 years. They need 8 to 9 hours per day, and that's what the Sleep Council is saying, for them to then be able to function the next day and have enough energy and be able to concentrate. They need 8 to 9 hours a day. If your child's not getting that, then that's when it can start impacting on their everyday life. So if they're missing 2 hours every night, you know, that can build up to 14 hours a week, which is nearly a night and a half of sleep that they're missing.
Okay, so why is sleep important? It helps to improve our concentration levels. It has a positive impact on our moods. It can help improve our memory. It is good for our physical health. And it has a positive impact on our well-being.
So how does sleep work? So if we look at the structure of sleep, you know, you have different stages of that, and it's very important that your child and yourself go through every stage of the sleep cycle. So first we've got stage 1, and this is the transition between being awake and being asleep. It feels a little bit drowsy when you're not quite fully awake. And then you've got stage 2. This is true sleep, but it isn't very deep. It's fairly easy to wake someone up during this stage. Now, stages 3 and 4, this is where the deep sleep comes in. After falling asleep, it might take to about half an hour to reach its deepest part of the sleep. During this stage, it takes a lot more effort to wake someone up. Then we have stage 5, which is called the rapid eye movement sleep. So during this stage, the eyes dart to and fro beneath closed eyelids. This stage is often known as REM sleep. During this stage, we have most of our dreams. So all these stages, each stage follows the next from stage 1 to stage 4 and then REM. So it takes about 90 minutes to go through the sequence and to complete, and then it starts all over again. So this means that our sleep gets deeper, then lighter, then deeper again as the night goes on. So it's really important that your child gets through every stage of this sleep cycle. So it's to balance the deep, the light and the REM sleep, and to feel our best in the morning.
So we've got a little information about REM sleep. So REM sleep is similar to wakefulness or drowsiness, and is a very normal, and it's very normal to wake up during this part of the sleep cycle. Many people just go back to sleep and or hardly notice that they've woken. However, if a person is experiencing stress or anxiety, they are more likely to worry about waking up and they may fixate on it. It can then be very difficult to get back to sleep. So a sleep cycle, as we've discussed, lasts about 1.5 hours. To feel rested when we wake up, it is important to experience each stage of the sleep cycle.
Thank you, Frances. So we've got this little video that we've found. We've taken little bits from everywhere, because there's so much information out there about sleep and getting a really good sleep hygiene and routine. So we found this. So we'll just play this video.
The definitive 10 commandments of sleep from the Sleep Council. 1. Keep a regular sleep routine. It helps the body sleep system stay in harmony. 2. Get out into natural light. Try this as soon as you wake up to make you feel more alert. 3. Exercise regularly. Your sleep will be deeper and more refreshing. 4. Avoid stimulants 8 hours before bedtime. Caffeine affects us differently, so leave enough time between the last cuppa and bedtime. 5. Don't go to bed full, hungry or thirsty. A heavy meal can cause discomfort, and drinking lots can make you go to the bathroom more. 6. Be screen savvy. Looking at screens just before bed can keep us awake for longer. Blue light suppresses the hormones that make us sleepy, and the content can keep us alert. 7. Don't use alcohol to sleep. Although alcohol is a sedative, your sleep quality will be poorer and you'll feel unrefreshed during the day. 8. Avoid nicotine before bed. Nicotine is a short-acting stimulant that can keep you awake. Avoid late evening and during the night if you wake up. 9. Keep your bedroom cool, dark and quiet. Heat, light and noise all impact our ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. A comfortable, supportive bed also plays a big part in sleep quality. 10. Hide the clock. Clock watching increases anxiety levels and prevents us from falling asleep. Turn it around and drift off. Sleep better with the Sleep Council.
So there's a few tips and like the 10 commandments of kind of what is best to kind of get your child into a good kind of sleep hygiene, and we're going to be discussing those kind of tips later on.
So we've got some pointers, some helpful tips on a healthy bedtime routine. So spend time outside in the daylight during the day. Keep your bedtime, your bedroom mainly for sleeping, and don't have caffeine 4 hours before bedtime.
Frances? And some more kind of sleep, a healthy sleep routine. We say that all families are different and every child is different. So these are a few tips that you might be able to try along the way. Just persevere with them and then it might help with your child that you've got in that household. So other tips that we've got. So keep regular times for going to bed and getting up. It's very important. You need to get your cognitive part and your body part for when it is going to sleep and when it's time to wake up into that kind of routine. So have a milky drink before bed. So milk's got amino acid in it, which is really, really good to kind of get you off to sleep. Avoid extreme room temperatures. Keep the room temperature as low as possible. If your room is quite hot, then you're going to be fidgeting around and keep waking up, and that will disturb that sleep cycle through the stages.
So some more tips. Keep your room dark at night. Avoid large meals around bedtime, and keep your room calm and tidy and make your bed in the morning.
Thank you. Some more tips. So let them take a warm bath. So raising our body temperature encourages sleep. You know, before they go to bed, you're trying to get them not going straight to bed, but it's all these little things before they can kind of get into their bed that might help them. So taking a warm bath, maybe with a little bit of lavender or something that's really going to relax that cognitive and start relaxing that body. We find we do like with worriers, so we have a lot of worriers who come into our service, so give them a notepad for the side of their bed. They can write their worries down, safe in the knowledge that they'll be able to think about them the next day. By tomorrow, they often aren't as important. I know that when I wake up in the middle of the night, I have a little notepad by the side because it's something that wakes me up and I have to kind of write that down. And like we say, sometimes when you look at that the next day, you think, oh, it's not a worry. Relaxation exercises such as light yoga stretches. When we do this with the children, we say like maybe like a yawn. When we yawn, that makes me kind of stretch, that makes me kind of want to yawn. So those kind of exercises are really, really good to kind of stimulate and get ready for that going to sleep time. So light yoga stretches, like we say, to help to relax the muscles. We don't say any kind of vigorous exercise, as this will have the complete opposite effect.
Okay, another tip, listening to relaxation music or sleep stories can be helpful. This can also improve negative associations with bedtime. So there are some apps out there that are really good, like Headspace and free apps, and on YouTube some nice relaxation music. I think we're going to talk about that detail a bit later. Reading a book can help us sleep, and it can also improve the negative associations with bedtime. Also, listening to the radio can distract our mind. signs. So sometimes when it's too quiet, it gives us a lot of time to think.
Thank you. More tips? Like Francis says, using a sleep app, not to track your sleep, but to give you helpful advice. There's loads out there on the NHS. If you put in NHS apps library, it will show you all the good apps that the NHS recommend, and you can click like the free ones and everything. So there might be this, there should be some on there for you to have a look at, again, to give some helpful advice for you. Avoid using smartphones and tablets, any other electrical devices for an hour or so before you go to bed. I know how difficult is that, because our especially our teenagers, we have that phone strapped to our hands. So it's about an hour before it's time to wind down. You know, on the iPhones, you can put a do not disturb on, and that will stop notifications coming through. You know, get them into that routine of, right, it's time to kind of start relaxing now and getting into that sleep routine and getting ready to go to bed. Turn your clocks around or remove them from the room altogether. There's nothing worse than waking up in the middle of the night and looking and it's 2:15 in the morning. That's not going to do anything for you. So the best thing to do is just when they wake up, they get into the habit of just trying to get back to sleep again. So yeah, turn your clocks around, which is a really good tip.
So trying to go to bed at the same time every night, and this helps your body to get into a routine. I think we spoke about that earlier. Limit foods and drinks that contain caffeine. This can include drinks like iced tea. Use your bed just for sleeping. So encourage your teenagers to not sit in bed doing the homework, reading, playing games or talking on the phone. And that way you can help them train their body to associate bed with sleep.
Francis. So little tips what Francis said about on YouTube and things, so relaxation tips for bedtime. You know, I think when we kind of have that quiet time, that's when our cognitive can get alert and start thinking about different things. So there's lots of relaxation music and meditation, you know, just to have in the background for the young person. There's also like lots of sleep stories and on YouTube, but also on these kind of sleep apps. Like I said, don't use it to track, but have that music in the background for them. That will be really, really good. We've got a little snippet of relaxation music for you. That's just a little snippet. So it's just nice just having the background. So it might be nicer than when they, obviously their phone's on do not disturb, but to have this kind of in the background for them of just something to kind of have there rather than those kind of worries and things. Well, with me. There we go.
So what to do if your young person can't sleep?
So can't sleep, won't sleep. So what do we do if they can't sleep? So children who can't sleep are often worriers. We've discussed this. You know, they kind of have that silence, like they have all the thoughts on the day that they've been kind of, because they've been distracted in the day, they start to worry at night. So it's very normal for a child and an adult to manage most of the day, like I say, without worrying, because they're distracted. You know, when we do a lot of like worry management, it's all about distraction. So distracting that cognitive part, and then do all their worrying at night when it's quiet. So these children need a calming bedtime routine that helps them to feel happy about going to bed. Like we've stated, every family is different. You might have children in your family from teenagers to little children, you know, I mean, this will really help yourself. So it's really talking to that young person and let's get this hygiene, let's get this bedtime routine down, you know, and keep persevering with it. If you think, oh, it's not worked that night, that doesn't mean it's never going to work again. You know, keep going at it. Talk to that young person, incorporate them in their bedtime routine, and it will really help. So want to end the negative associations with bedtime. Yeah, try to keep their bedroom as a sanctuary, somewhere they enjoy being. We know with teenagers that's their safe place, but try not to use their bed to lie in. The bed should only be for like sleep time. Because along with this, consider whether there's anything that could help them to feel more comfortable. You know, I mean, these children, like teenagers, still have teddies or they have kind of blankets and stuff, something that's with them. When I'm in bed, my dog sleeps with me. I have her ear that I kind of is real soft, and I kind of, when I'm going to sleep, that helps me. That's my comfort. So if your child has a habit of getting out of bed to talk to you, give them a self-soothe box. You know, this is a really good way that we're going to go into later of how to build a self-soothe box. It's really good that we kind of teach our young people how to self-soothe themselves. It's a really good technique, and we'll go into that later on.
So what to do if your young person won't sleep? So as we know, children don't like being told it's bedtime, as they believe it's the end of their fun time. If your young person experiences this, it's important to have a calming bedtime routine to help them feel ready for bed, like we've already discussed. And for these children, it is really important to stop any stimulating activities in advance of bedtime. Have clear set boundaries about electronics, so Tracy spoke about that, and make it part of the evening routine. Where possible, spend some quality time with your young person during their bedtime routine. As we know, children love attention, so if they associate bedtime with receiving attention, they're more likely to want to do it. Don't engage with unwanted behaviour unless this is risky or dangerous. Any unwanted behaviour they display should be ignored. Remember, by engaging with unwanted behaviour, not only are you giving them attention, but you're teaching them that this is a good way to avoid actually going to bed.
Thank you. So we've kind of gone through like lots of different tips that we find from everywhere. So have a think about what will you implement from today's workshop to help your child sleep. So first, from the tips that have kind of been out there, you can pick from different tips, talk to your young person about it. Shall we try this? Shall we try that? As you're stating, you know, a young person, a teenager, 12 to 18, need about 8 to 9 hours sleep a night. You know, I don't think you're ever going to get a young person who has that all the time, but if they have a really bad night, then try and really work on that sleep routine for the next day. So I'll try this, we'll see if it works, persevere with it. If it does, fantastic. What else can I incorporate that? You know, next I will try, and then I will try. There might be things in there that you might switch it up a little bit, but if it's working for that young person, then that's fantastic.
So here we've got a sleep diary that your teenagers can complete. So the complete in the morning helps them to look at what time they went to bed, what time did they fall asleep, did they wake in the night, what woke them in the night, how many hours sleep did they have, and it gives them an idea of how their sleep goes for the whole week. So you've got the 7 days there. And this is taken from the National Sleep Foundation and adapted for teenagers.
Thank you. Yes. So we spoke about the self-soothe box ideas. You know, self-soothing, this uses your 5 senses. So your touch, your smell, your sound, the taste, and your sight, your vision, to comfort yourself and manage your distress effectively. We know when it's very difficult for young people to go to sleep, they keep getting out of bed and stuff, so they'll find that they'll kind of getting more and more distressed. So this is a really good skill. Self-soothing skills help you learn how to treat yourself kindly, lovely and compassionately. So first, so in your self-soothing box, you could have like something that's sight, so something you can see at, so photos of people, places, like positive quotes, kind of like funny pictures, anything that's kind of going to help them to kind of release that distress down a little bit. Like touch, any kind of putty, fidget spinners, stress balls are amazing just to have with them, just to squeeze. They're so good. Like a worry stone, something that it gets really smooth, so they can have that in bed with them. Like anything like, say, soft material, any kind of blankets that they're used to, or pom-poms, something like lotion, like lavender is so good. of kind of reducing that, kind of getting you to sleep. So maybe some lotion on them before they go to bed, like a little feather. While you're spending time with them, you know, put this feather down their arm, really bring them down. Sound. So we've spoke about kind of having something in the background so there's not that white noise. So soothing playlists on phones, like nature sounds. There's loads on YouTube you can have a look at. Taste. So something like a light snack. We don't want anything heavy before we go to bed, like mints, chewing gum. Obviously chewing gum, be very careful before they go together. I would mainly say mint. And we spoke about milky drinks, so it's got amino acid in it, so it's really good to like bring the body and ready for sleep time. And any kind of smells, you know, we might have people in your family that get really distressed when they're parted from you, so maybe some of your perfume on one of the kind of like soft things would be really good for them. A scented candle, really lovely, but obviously make sure it's blown out before they go to bed. And any aromatherapy oils, like I spoke about, lavender is really good for that. So this is kind of like a self-soothe box ideas for you to do with your young person.
So we've got some signposting information. At the top is our email address. This is manned Monday to Friday, 8 till 6. So feel free to email any questions with regard to this video or any concerns you've got about your young person and sleep. There's lots of information on the Sleep Council and Great Ormond sites. There's also a link to Young Minds, which have really good information about sleep difficulties as well as other issues that your young person might be facing. There's also a link to the NHS sleep information for teenagers, and if you have younger people, younger children in the family, there's some healthy tips there as well.
Thank you. And thank you for listening, and I hope this really helps you know, your parents of kind of talking to your young person and really getting that sleep routine, because we know how difficult it is, because it has such an impact on their everyday life when they're not getting that, you know, that recommended sleep of 8 to 9 hours. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.